Reactions are coming in after last night. U.S. Senator Britt, a native of Enterprise, saying, quote, "I'm incredibly grateful to the brave first responders from across the Wiregrass who came together and worked tirelessly to ensure the safety of the residents at the Benny G. Atkins Veterans Home in my hometown of Enterprise. As local officials work to identify the cause of the fire, my family and I continue to pray for the veterans who were displaced as a result of this unfortunate incident." And of course, we have the rest of our statement on our website at WTVY.com.